Well, as the saying goes, one person's trash is another's treasure.
So I knew of Sean and his work before, but he just came with such resounding, like people were like, you have to talk to this guy.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new video.
It is what's beneath the lapping waves that Sean McMullen is interested in.
When you see somebody's platform and how they show up, I'm always just so curious about why.
Suzuki has given him a boat so he can travel longer distances for his dives. Conan O'Brien invited McMullen onto his podcast.
It's not just diving. It's not just treasure hunting.
That's a gun.
I'm just taking care of the ocean neighborhood.
My name is Mark Brand. You are listening to Better. I'm a social impact entrepreneur, so I build businesses that are in service to the greater community. So Better was formed to be a tool for everyday advocacy. I think anytime we take people's attention, we have to give something. Folks, welcome back to Better. As always, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest today. Reese and I had a conversation offline about all of the different monikers we could give you. And it was deep. We had like a solid 10 or 15, but we're going to go with your favorite, which is Saltwater Sean.
Okay.
And folks, Saltwater Sean, I want to just share that there's something honest, and that word comes like forward for me after digging through about 40 of your posts over the last week about the way that you move through the world, that you're not chasing the attention, you're more sharing curiosity. And at a time where we are so divided, curiosity is a superpower. And I want to say just a little bit more about that. When we approach a question curious versus judgmental, it's different, right? Like, oh, I wonder why this person feels that way, or I wonder why this 1897 bottle just happens to be sitting right here in the water. And what you do is you open up a place for us to explore ourselves. You and I talked a little bit just beforehand about being our childhood selves,
Yes.
which is also a superpower. And so I'm going to introduce you as a master of curiosity. That's what we're going to do with today. But how do you introduce yourself?
I'm just Sean McMullen. I'm a good old Nova Scotian boy, born and raised.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, we're super proud to have you on here, man. And, anybody who has followed the show or knows me for the last 15 years, I'm very Dartmouth proud native. These are my streets back here in Halifax for the last bunch of years. And as we close this season of Better, which is season 3, it felt really apropos to have somebody else who cares as much about the Maritime. So, folks, if you're listening at home and you don't have a propensity to fall further in love with the Maritimes, I suggest you probably tune out at this moment. If you have been more curious and you call Toronto east, please do not turn the dial at this moment, even if you're in Toronto. And we're going to dig into who Sean is and what Sean does on his platform, but also what makes him tick, to use that trope. And so I became aware of you just shortly after COVID started.
Okay.
And you following this sort of passion or hobby of yours. But I think what really stuck for me was it was so tightly tied to family. I'm a big family guy. My mom's name is tattooed here on my neck. And so tell us a little bit about your dad and the inception of Saltwater Sean, not Sean McMullen.
Yeah. Saltwater Sean started during COVID and not on purpose, it was accidental. I was really, really bored at home. We were locked down and I hated it. I was going crazy. I walked around my neighborhood playing guitar and because I just had nothing to do.
Hold on. I mean, that needs a whole different sub-thread. You were walking around like a minstrel in your neighborhood.
Yes, I was. And my kids would walk with me because it was the time when you could only go out so far from where your house in your zone.
Sure.
Which is weird to think now again. But I would walk around my neighborhood just playing guitar, like Beatles songs, stuff like that, Oasis. And then I remember people would sit out on their doorsteps and just come out because they knew I was walking around.
It's me. I would be people. 100%.
So that was kind of fun. And then I started doing all the, then TikTok became popular. So I started using, popular sounds and trends and just making stupid videos. And then I got bored of that. And then do you remember when the bubbling thing became a thing? You could pick 2 people to bubble with.
Yeah.
So my wife and I at the time, our friends Greg and Rachel, we said, let's bubble with you. And so they came over to the house and my friend Greg was like, Sean, you should check out this YouTuber on, he's a magnet fisher.
Okay.
I was like, what is this? And so he was like, it's this Australian dude who lives in Amsterdam, and he magnet fishes in the canals, and he pulls out like safes, guns, bikes, and he was like, it's hilarious to watch. So he showed me it, and I was like, that's awesome. And
It is awesome.
I devoured all these videos, and then it was like probably April, and I was like, man, that he's doing something really fun. And I just remembered I snorkel every summer. I've been doing it since I was a kid. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, for some reason, I just wanted to go into the Northwest Arm because I drove by
okay.
it so much.
Sure.
And so I went on Marketplace. I bought a wetsuit. I went to my dad's house. I got his fins and his mask. I borrowed them. And I just went straight to the Northwest Arm. It was cold. I had no GoPro. I had nothing. I just wanted to get in and look. And I found a Pepsi bottle and a Coke bottle from like 1960s. And I still have them.
Okay.
And I remember thinking like, oh man, I love this. And then I texted my dad. I was like, Dad, I found these old bottles. And he was like, oh, that's cool. I want to come with you. And so it was perfect because at that time you couldn't do too much. You couldn't go into parks. They taped them off.
That's right.
Which was silly. And so I was like, well, I can't get COVID in the water.
Fair.
I mean,
we didn't test that theory.
We didn't test the theory. So then I just started going out to different places, and then Dad started coming with me. And my dad's a scuba diver. He's been diving in the Halifax Harbor for a long time.
Okay.
He's pulled up all sorts of cool.
As a hobbyist or as a professional?
Hobbyist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And Dad has a huge zest for life and adventure. And so I was like, well, Dad, I have two younger brothers and younger sister. They're not really into this. So this is kind of my thing that I have with my dad.
Very
Jonathan.
cool.
Yeah. And so Dad and I started going out to like Prospect, Terrence Bay, and then we went into Peggy's Cove.
Okay.
And we did a big cleanup there. There's a very famous photo that's on my social medias, where there's like a little dock in that picturesque cove.
Yeah, of course.
We put all the trash, like 2 hours worth of diving. We put all the trash on this deck. We lined it all out. There was a kitchen sink. There was a door. There was glass galore.
Amazing.
And then I actually had got dressed. And then Dad was like, oh, you should put your suit back on and hop in the water and I'll take a picture of you.
Okay.
Again, Saltwater Sean it wasn't even a thing. No one even knew I was doing this.
Sure.
And then I went in the water. Dad took the picture and then I shared it online. We went to dinner in Tantallon at some restaurant there when they were allowing people to eat outside like 5 tables apart.
Sure.
We went and did that. And then I turned my phone off, and then after dinner was done, I put it back on, and the photo had gone viral, and the news had sent me some emails like CTV and CBC and the Chronicle Herald, and were like, "What is this? Who are you? What are you doing?"
Sure.
And then it just kind of snowballed. That blew up into Saltwater Sean because I think one of the news anchors was like, "Do you have a name for yourself?" And I was like, "Saltwater Sean."
Amazing. See, Reese, we were right. We were just throwing monikers around, but he got his first.
I thought it was cool. I was like, that makes sense.
Yes.
But then what was cool about that with my dad was Dad and I finally had something kind of to do again.
Sure.
And we motivate the other person. Like he's 62 and Dad has the most energy of any grown man I've ever met and he has since I was a kid.
Sure.
So he was my model for entrepreneurship. For chasing passions, for being curious, but also I get it from I always want to talk about my mother because I do talk about my dad. My mom who just turned 62 yesterday. I wrote about her. My mom taught me how to love others and listen without giving advice. Mom taught me how to be kind without expecting something in return.
Sure.
And Mom loves the adventures as much as I do, but she loves the research component. She's like, Sean, what did you find? I'll look it up. I'll tell you.
So cool.
Right? So I get 2 different things from my mom and dad, who've been together for a very long time, just celebrated their wedding anniversary recently. And so I've been very fortunate to have my parents as a support backbone for my life.
And let me just interject here for a second. The qualities that you just described about your dad and your mom, just for all of you listening at home again, are maritime qualities through and through.
Yeah.
Right? When we like to think about ourselves as maritimers, like those are things that we really pride ourselves on. Yeah. And good, strong parenting is part and parcel of that. And the family unit is part and parcel of that.
It is. And I hope I'm instilling some of that into my own children. I've gone through a divorce in the last couple of years, separation and divorce. And it's been very hard and challenging. And I'm sure it's been that the same for my ex as well. And I do really wish her success in life, and I want her to succeed.
Sure.
But parenting now as a single dad and is a very interesting dynamic for me. I'm still doing Saltwater Sean, obviously, and I'm taking my kids with me to do these things, and they can see me pursuing something that's kind of offbeat, maybe kind of that's something that I'm into, that I watched my dad do when I was that age. Because I think kids really respond to adults who are really passionate about something,
Of course they do.
right? Versus just like sitting home and watching
Sure.
TV. And
Well, I mean, you can feel nonverbal communication between adults and children is really it, right? So enthusiasm.
yeah,
Why I was excited to have you on the show is your own enthusiasm. So I spoke about curiosity earlier, but
yeah.
we've lost this because we're trying to either be too cool. So we believe that we sort of
Oh,
like,
I'm not cool.
we take, I don't totally disagree. I highly disagree. Or I really don't think I'd be, be having this conversation with you. So like being exuberant and being joyful and being positive about things in life in particular is a lost art form.
Yeah.
And so you don't have a choice and I don't have a choice. It's just the tap goes on and it's on, right?
Yes, that's right. That's how I feel. Like there's a switch that's inside me somewhere that is just in the on position.
Exactly.
I've had to learn how to slow down in my life, and some external things in my life have forced me to have to slow down
Sure.
and re-examine the man that I am inside,
Okay.
and go through that, which has been tough, and we can get into that too. But Saltwater Sean became this thing. I also had stopped drinking alcohol January 5th, 2020.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I wouldn't say I was an alcoholic before, but I just noticed that I was drinking, we'd have parties, and I was just like, and then I would wake up on a Saturday morning, and I had young kids, and I was like, I don't want to give up a Saturday to feeling like crap,
No.
right? I don't want to do that anymore. And I was gaining weight, and I had just been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, which I now manage through medication. But alcohol is an inflammatory
It sure
thing,
is.
poison, and it wasn't helpful for me. So I cut it out. And once I remember when I stopped drinking, I made it through a party, and it was like day 35, and I had a party in my house, and I just had like bubbly water. And I still remember, though, it's interesting, the culture of like drinking in the Maritimes and stuff. I don't want to knock anyone who does that, and I'm not going to judge anyone. But I remember everyone was like, oh, why don't you just have a drink, Sean? Just have a drink. It'll be fun, right? And I just like, no. And then once I made it through a whole party,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I really don't need it. I can be fun. I can have fun without
Absolutely.
alcohol, right?
It's
Right?
like this wild thing that we don't understand.
It's weird.
But
Yeah.
It's I might not like you after 9 p.m., but I like me just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I leave parties really early because I don't want to see my people.
goodbyes, man.
Oh.
I love
Look,
the Irish goodbye.
I think under the, like, if you look in the dictionary, the Webster's, you open it up under Irish goodbye, it's me in a kilt. It's literally me in a kilt, like, disappearing. We used to call it, like, the ninja or the smoke
That's
bomb
amazing.
as well.
My
Yeah.
brother Matt is the art of Irish goodbye. Matt is just like, he doesn't like, some people kind of like say maybe goodbye to one or two people.
Yeah.
Matt is just like vanished.
No, man, I've
He's
got a
gone.
text locked and loaded before I've walked out the back door saying I'm going to the bathroom. You will not see me again. And look, this is a really important tool, I think. So the important part about this show is tools for resilience, right? So as we talk about sobriety, anybody out there who's struggling with alcohol, we'll put some notes in the chat for you and in the show notes, because it is a very serious thing. In my professions of owning restaurants and being a cook for 30 plus years, it is rampant in our industry, and there hasn't been a day go by since I've owned places, which goes back to 2004, that I am not mentoring or helping somebody with addiction.
Okay.
And so one of the reasons I got sober specifically was very similarly of I work with marginalized populations, and nonverbal communication. When you're dealing with somebody who's struggling with addiction, there is an energy that comes off that makes you not be able to fully trust them.
Yeah.
Right? There's a like, oh, can I trust you with this thing, or can I be fully present?
Yeah.
And so my commitment was, and I've faltered throughout, don't get me wrong, my commitment was, if I'm going to show up for this community, which is greater than me, I need to be 100% my best self, you with your children and you with yourself. So when you make that commitment at home, I promise you there's nothing bad on the other side, aside from the number one thing I point to is isolation. So you lose a lot of your people who are not ready to A, make that decision, or B, who are like, wait a sec, you're making a judgment of me. And we're doing neither of those things, I'm certain.
Yeah.
But in self-preservation, you do lose people.
Yeah, and I ended up learning too is maybe part of my personality because I would say I'm an addict for a lot of things in life. Like I just might because I have an on switch that I'm always wanting to do something. I'm creating
Sure.
something. In 2018, 2019, I co-founded a group with some amazing people called the Halifax Social Network, where I was bringing creatives together to talk about business, creativity, photography in the city, then got shut down by COVID. And then I have a photography side career that I do where I've been creating stuff and shooting for a long time for big clients, small time clients.
Sure.
My day job is viewpoint.ca, the real estate tech company. So
Yeah,
been
of
there
course.
since we started. So I've been fortunate to be there and help build that as well. I'm really proud of being there and working there. And then Saltwater Sean. So when I stopped drinking, it was like my brain went to something else and it's like it needed a vice of some type.
Sure.
And then this became perfect. So I could devote my energy into cleaning up the ocean or the water, the rivers or lakes, finding really cool stuff, sharing it online with people. And then the cycle starts again, but it's in a healthier direction where it's actually,
Certainly.
yeah,
And we see that with people in sobriety, particularly when working in neighborhoods where there's a lot of intense issues. Is like you have your workout sect. Like there's a bunch of archetypes of sobriety. It's like, oh, these guys work out 10 hours a day. And that's how they manage their social anxiety, crushing pressure of the world around them, those sorts of things. Finding that outlet. For me, I'm a workaholic at times. So like I lean into what I'm doing to quell those same demons. And we use the poisons to numb ourselves, right? It's really, or to numb those anxieties so that we feel like we're being more ourselves. The trick that the devil plays in that is you're being less of yourself because you're removing what makes you you.
Yeah.
So how do you stay in like,
Well, I
get
felt
through
like
that.
Saltwater Sean was that boy who loved the water when he was younger. And that person you see online is me. Like I'm really not that different offline that I am online. If I say I don't know something, I don't know. I don't pretend to know anything. If I get it wrong, I say I'm wrong. Um, I love meeting people. I love connecting with people wherever I go in these communities. I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. And it's helped me become more confident in myself because I struggled with confidence a lot growing up. I was bullied when I was in grade 8, and that did affect me for a long time, and actually unknowingly until I kind of went to therapy many years later, and I realized that I wasn't tending to that boy who was hurt. I didn't even tell my parents that I was bullied back in grade 8.
Right.
And it affected me on my core for a very long time. It affected me in relationships. It affected me in work environments. And it took me a long time to go back to that kid and talk to him and realize that he needed someone. So I also wanted to turn Saltwater Sean into a platform where I support other people and I try to respond to everyone. I try to make everyone feel heard because I feel like I wasn't heard when I was younger too.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that come. It's not just diving. It's not just treasure hunting. It's Saltwater Sean is just a story of someone who found something when he was younger and started nurturing it and letting it grow again until it became something that it's reaching a lot of people. I used to say I don't really know why so many people are interested in this hobby, and I don't think it's so much the hobby that people are interested in. I think now it's people are enjoying seeing someone be their authentic self without reservations. Like I'll talk about being in love. I'll talk about struggling with anxiety. I'll talk about struggling with divorce, right? I won't go into specifics of things because, but I'm sure people have developed parasocial relationships with me. It's a very common thing with people online.
Of course.
But I also, if someone asks me something about something, I'll try to respond as honestly as I can. Because if it can help them, then that's great. I like to speak. Like tonight, I'm actually going to go speak to a Girl Guides thing. Girls that are 5 to 7 years old who are interested in, treasure hunting.
That's
right.
beautiful.
And it's just like, if I can help inspire kids or if I can, and I think if I strip all that back, why am I doing this? It's because I'm still healing and tending to me, the Sean inside.
100%. So here's an excellent. First of all, thank you for sharing all of that, and what a beautiful honor to be invited in to help shape the minds of the youth. Like it's such a.
It is.
I mean, they're so much smarter than we were, and
Yes.
which you get to see with your children. But we
Oh, man.
teach kids between sort of 10, and then we just did a cohort with the YMYWCA and Nourish Nova Scotia of 15 to 18-year-olds, teaching them culinary skills, and
Yep.
they walk away with like knife rolls and all the tools to be curious about cooking.
Yeah.
And they're so beautiful to watch, and the questions that they ask are so emotionally intelligent that it sort of gives you hope again, right? So we live in a world where our generations, mine and yours, feel like we're battle weary. You know, it's like if I'm not fighting with my uncle online because he believes that, the world is flat,
Yeah.
or like all of these other things that we're facing consistently, we're a little wore down. Being able to be with the youth is just,
Yeah.
can we just pass them the keys now is what I'm always saying. Like,
Yeah.
let them lead. But I think what you also tapped into there is authenticity. So kids can smell bullshit a mile away,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like they absolutely, and people online can do the same. It's very easy to discern.
Yes.
And this is nonverbal stuff too. It's like when you see joy amongst all of this, you want to follow it.
Yeah.
And so bravo for using your platform to show all these other pieces, but also to open yourself up in a way that you can have these conversations meaningfully with
Yeah.
people. We always say if one person was impacted, we did our job.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure a lot more than one people.
Yeah.
One people.
I also started sharing too online last year about my hearing loss and tinnitus because I was looking online. I was really struggling with my tinnitus because for those who have it, you know what it is. It's a constant ringing sound that never turns off in your brain.
That's right.
Right? And it's a lot of people have different sounds and different in their head. But I was last year March, I was having a really kind of depressive month, and the tinnitus was like overwhelming, and it put me so low. I stopped eating because how do you deal with a sound that doesn't turn off, that's ever present? And then you add hearing loss on top of that. So something I love that would calm me is music. I love music, and now I can't hear it as fully as I used to. So I struggle with that. And so I saw really no people my age talking about hearing loss really online anywhere. And so I decided to share a post and write about it and just be honest about how frustrating and how serious it was, because it's an invisible thing. People don't know. You can't see it. And you can't even hear it. Like I have a sound, if you put your ear up to mine, you wouldn't hear anything. But I can hear it. It's in my brain. So I started talking about it and being really, really brutally honest. And it opened up a whole door to a whole bunch of people who said, I have tinnitus, Sean. I'm struggling. How do I get help? And it's like people will come out if they see one person talk about something. And it's not just kids, but it's like these are adults who've lived with their whole life. And so if I have a platform, maybe I can influence something on some level for people to get help. I think so. I started being honest about that. I started being honest about being in love, which I am, and a better relationship that I found in the midst of everything. And I don't do it for attention. In my head, I'm talking about these things because I really am hoping someone out there it'll resonate, even just with one person. That's all I care about. Sure. Just one person will read something and not feel alone.
Right.
And then again, that goes back to that Sean who was bullied when I felt alone and I didn't have anyone to talk to. I could have probably talked to my parents at the time, but I was too embarrassed. I was in grade 8.
Sure.
But I decided that I would never, if I had a choice, if I had an opportunity to change that narrative, I was going to do it. So I have done that. So I am honest about everything online, everything you see.
It's wonderful, man. I think, again, you touch on something that's important for everybody listening, which is not only does authenticity reign, but your why. 100,000 people have written this book in a different way, right? Which is defining what your why is and then following it. Most of us come to the realization of what that why is after we're in our passion. So when we started doing our work, people would say to me, like, why are you doing this? Why are you feeding people who are unhoused? Why do you care about this so much? And I would say arrogantly, somebody has to, right? Because I didn't want to be honest about what was inside that 8-year-old, that 10-year-old, that 15-year-old inside that I was actually working to heal. But more importantly was like, I don't want anybody else to have that experience that nobody is there for them.
Yes.
So our cafe up on Gottingen Street, we'll have 120 people walk in today that have nowhere else to go to get a meal. They have nowhere else to turn to. And in that, that's the exact same healing. So whatever it is that you are at home listening to and that spark that you're feeling, it's like my crochet project doesn't matter. It absolutely matters, right? Because it becomes a place where you can share your voice and your lived experience that helps people see
Right.
it. I think about Jennifer Crawford often, a dear friend whose birthday it is in a couple of days. And Jennifer came to huge notoriety at MasterChef and won MasterChef, the first queer individual to win MasterChef, and then kind of went off grid and like lives essentially a life off grid. But in between that, followed their dreams of being pro wrestler and was pro wrestling and like does incredible baking projects and is very strong about COVID and how it still impacts us. And all of those messages are so important to people who need to see themselves in someone. And right, so my archetype or your archetype or Jennifer's archetype matter to people. And I think folks are like, well, if I'm not instantly viral, did I succeed?
Yep.
And it's not about numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers are fun and they're important, you know, for certain things if you're doing it for a living. But you're making a living 18 other ways, so you get to just do this how you want.
Yeah. I feel like most of my life, I was trying to fit. It's like square peg, round hole, or all that. I always felt like I was trying to fit into other things. I was kind of more of a loner. Growing up, like I had close friends, but in school, I wasn't popular.
Sure.
And all my life, I feel like I was trying to just fit in by adapting to what other people were doing around me. And I don't know. I don't really know why I did that. I don't really know now because, I mean, I was trying to find community, I guess, and trying to find people like me.
Of course.
But as I've gotten older, and especially as having kids, and especially as going through something kind of life shifting like divorce, I think life is really too short to be serious. And I'm talking about serious like in terms of like financial chasing
Sure.
and submitting yourself to that rat race of life. It's a construct that is just outdated. Humans aren't made to we weren't designed to live the way that this world is currently operating in this in a capitalist world.
Say that.
And so everyone needs money to live, and yes, I think there's different I understand that, but I think that we have all fallen into this like trap of. Sorry, my thoughts are kind of coming to me as we're talking here. It's
Take your
kind of
time, man.
opening up, but I'm just so tired of the way that I used to live my life, and now I don't want to live that way anymore. I want to really chase my dreams and my passions, and really trust that gut feeling. I think it's actually in your heart, because your heart, I think, is a living, is like smart like your brain. Right. And it has neurons in it. And I think that you can listen to your heart. And I feel like I'm learning the more and more I listen to that the thing here in my heart, the more confirmation I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and it's not just from the response that I get. I mean, that there's some validation, sure, that maybe you're maybe heading in the right direction. But every decision that I've made in the last couple of years, to meet someone, to take a risk on going to a location, to being honest, has always led to something neater and cooler and a better thing, versus just like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, it's too scary. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, and the more and more I've been doing that in my life, like the crazier the opportunities have come.
Sure.
So if I've stopped just trying to live to please others, which is what I did, I used to give too much without taking anything. I would give and give and give because I thought that's how people would love me in my life.
Certainly.
I'm a giver, and almost to a fault. where it can be taken advantage of.
Of course.
But it's also in who I am. I've also learned to embrace that part of me. Yes, I do love to give. I love to give to people that I love. And yes, I've been hurt from it. But I feel like I'm finally coming into my own. I'm almost 40 years old this year. And I finally have, it's like I can see who I was. I can see that boy when I was young before I was bullied. I remember I was this kid who my parents had to put me in every sport,
Right.
because I had unlimited energy, and I was creative, and I was doing things, and I was confident. And I feel like I'm finally getting back to that after almost like 25 years.
The long road home.
Yeah.
And people talk about this a lot. And I
Yeah.
think, you've nailed it. I'm sure this part right now has got everybody's head nodding really hard, right? Which is we are born polymaths. We are born to do everything, and we can do anything.
Yeah.
There's literally
We're all
nothing we
jack
can't.
of trades people.
But then we're told we can't, and the world isn't safe. And this is a good person, and this is a bad person, to stay away from this, and to find your lane,
Yeah.
and what's going to keep you
Right.
financially secure. Those are all modalities that we're taught. And that's generational, like
Yeah.
our parents' coming from Great Depression days,
Yes.
right? And coming from scarcity, and then our parents working insanely hard
Oh, yeah.
to provide something. And then all they know is that generation before and theirs. And so the disconnect now, another generation below that or two, is saying, I just want to follow my passion and be happy and do everything that I want to. And the things that I do that are beautiful, whether that's diving in 10 meters and finding treasure, or it's creating businesses and business models that don't
Yeah.
exist, those are the passions that it took us
Yeah.
25, 30 years to come
Yeah.
back to.
Yeah.
And so the more that we can teach the youth,
Mhm.
whether they're 5 or 7-year-old Girl Scouts, I'm at the Kiwanis Club tonight with 80-year-olds, like whether we're in those conversations of wisdom shepherding, which I like to call
Yeah.
it, like I'm reaching up to reach down.
Mm.
I'm taking knowledge from you and I'm going to pass it into that room today, and you'll probably do the same, right? Like it's all this beautiful energy of what's possible,
Yeah.
not what's impossible. Like there is no bad ideas. We know that in creativity. And so where is the energy is the question we have to constantly ask.
There's no bad ideas. I also think another lie I'd like to upend. There's no bad people and good people. That is a construct too. This idea of bad people.
Say that.
There's a lot of hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
but bad people. I mean, I know there's people who do bad things, but us as a human race, everyone. If you look at all the atrocities in life over time committed by people, they're bad actions caused by very, very damaged, hurt individuals. But
Very often, I think we're over-indexing sociopaths and psychopaths right now in the visible,
narcissists,
but we're over-indexing there. It's such a small percentage, but we've really leaned into our narcissist era so hard that we've got them leading.
Yeah.
And this is a blip in time. That's going to be over
agree.
very shortly. And you're right. And I say all the time, I've been to every corner of the world, man, and I've met all sorts of very hurt and damaged people, but I've only met a couple of truly bad people. Yeah. And in those truly bad people, they are leaning further and further into shadow. They are not looking to heal or to do anything or the work. And so you touched on therapy earlier. Mm-hmm. And I can't say this enough. Every episode, I think we talk about therapy. Yeah. And not because I'm like, oh, I've recently found therapy, and then no. I'm in it. I care about it. I use it in all of its different modalities to become a better, kinder, softer person. Yeah. Because I also veer into that level of like, I get angry. I find the systems really crushing. I find the dissonance really crushing. Yes. Of like, why does it have to be this way? Yes. And so if I don't talk to somebody about it, I'm not any fun to be around. I'm the guy that ruins the party sober. Like I show up and I'm like, oh, it's so interesting that everybody feels so comfortable while everybody's outside starving and homeless. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing, but in a roundabout way, I'm gonna mess up your party. Yeah. And so I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. And so how do I bring tools of hope and resilience consistently? And that is by spending time with people like you, by spending time with the seniors that I'm going to at Kiwanis who are probably going to do my keynote for me. I'm going to probably just hang out and eat biscuits, and they're going to talk to me.
That's great. That's fun.
But that's the love of life, right? We think that our instance, if we've experienced pain like nobody's experienced, and then you hear somebody's story, right? So all I have to do is go to the Nook and spend 10 minutes there and go, damn, my day's going pretty good. Yeah. My life is actually incredible. Yeah. I have a roof tonight. Yes. I own my own home. Like that's a dream that is beyond,
I love offbeat characters in life. I love doing kind of stranger things in life. Like the other day, like the virtue of what I do is like kind of peculiar. Like, what is this guy doing? He's getting in the Halifax harbor, or he's got a giant magnet.
I feel like we have to
attached
talk
a
about
rope.
this at some point too. Like we introduced you, and you and I just decided to like go into metaphysical conversation. But we have to talk about the platform at some point too. So what is this
Sure.
guy doing in Halifax Harbor?
Right
What
now-
are you doing in Halifax Harbor, Sean?
Right now, I'm magnet fishing. So
Okay.
a big, giant magnet on
Yeah.
the end of a big climbing rope. I'm
Okay.
chucking it in the water, and I'm pulling stuff out. See what I find. I have no idea what I'm going to find.
Okay.
And I think someone doing something odd in society is kind of intriguing. Like I did a 2 weeks ago. I was down at the Halifax waterfront by the ferry terminal. I was just with my buddy there, and we were chucking magnets in, and people were like on the ferry were like getting their phones out. Like, what's this guy doing? They were coming over and curious, like, what is that? And I was smiling and laughing, and I'm just doing my own weird thing.
And that own weird thing was basically pulling an entire restaurant's patio furniture out of the Halifax Harbor. So
Yeah.
I got to find out what restaurant that was. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yo, somebody's going down for this.
Yeah, it's of no value, the actual contents, but the value is the conversations and people coming up to me like, actually, I know who you are, Sean. I love all your stuff. This is really cool to see you in person. And they're seeing, a grown man just chuck a magnet in the water. It's kind of, if you actually step back and say what it is, it's kind of strange.
I don't know. I think it's amazing.
But more than anything, I think that it goes back. We're going to tie it back to the metaphysical conversation. Is that every adult, I think, still wishes they were a kid. And so I'm doing something fun that's kind of silly, and I'm finding, I'm spending my spare time, just doing that. Right. And so everyone has something. They run, they go to the gym, they play video games, they go to bars. All humans need hobbies and to do things. But I think there's some other hobbies that are a little more extreme. Some people start getting into mountain climbing. Some people start getting into whitewater rafting or magnet fishing or metal detecting.
I love that you lumped those three things together in a row. That kind of made my morning.
Yeah.
Some people summit Everest, other people magnet fish.
Yeah, right. But it's like there's something inside of every human being on this planet that has this like thing they really, really want to do.
For sure.
And some humans are lucky to actually they do it.
Yeah.
And then there's the ones who wish that they could do it.
That's right.
And so that's kind of why I also like doing Saltwater Sean, because I actually did a post this morning because I just crossed 75,000 fans on Facebook, which is cool. But again, it's not about the numbers. It's more about if people are seeing me just do the weird thing, maybe they'll go do their own weird thing.
That's
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That everyone will go out and find their own thing to do. Because like I said it in my post, was like, life is just too serious.
Yeah.
And especially and the world is dark right now. We've got another war for no reason. Right. And we've got wars all over the planet. We're all killing each other over land for no reason. Like, it's just like, I won't get too far into it, but I just think that human beings should be like investing in like science and we should be investing in community, and we've got to stop, like, I'm being very general and naive here, but like, stop killing each other. Like,
There's nothing naive about that.
Right?
So I think when we say there are superpowers vying for what they believe is the greatest and easiest way to wealth, more obscene wealth, then we are all just passengers. And the problem with us being passengers is we don't realize our own power.
Greed is a disease on the human race.
Absolutely.
Greed.
For sure.
You will never have enough.
That's right.
I've had it all.
Mhm.
I've had the house. I've had no debt. I've had, the whole thing, and it's not been taken, but it's gone, and I'm rebuilding again. So I've been there. It's not that getting that is not the end.
It certainly isn't.
It is not.
And we talk about this all the
I
time.
used to think it was.
Yeah, well, we did. So back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, I was running 13 cost centers, 11 businesses. We were 17 million in revenue, all scratch made, all brick and mortar. And I was simultaneously like, oh, I've succeeded. Like, I won the Monopoly board, and the most miserable. Yeah. And I was a shadow of myself. And when I found social impact work and started doing Save On Meats, our project on Hastings Street in particular, everything else was irrelevant to me quickly. Because I was like, oh, this makes me feel something. and it's not, being able to have Prince open a live music venue or do these things. That's wonderful. That's really cool. Things that I still look back on. But what I really care about more is my guy Robert on God Industry, who has a place to go to, the people who work for me who've been there for 10 plus years, who are doing something really important.
Yeah.
There's a way to use the same tools to lead a beautiful life, but also leave a really huge net impact
Yes.
on our communities,
Yes.
and whether that community is online or it's in person.
Yeah.
Like watching you interact with those folks and like literally curiously coming up to you and being like, what is that? What did you pull out?
Yeah.
Just the understanding, and I want to go into this to sort of bring us to a natural close here, of the impact on what's in our water and how we impact it as a race, right? So when I bring forward like, hey, we fed almost 1 million people this year, well, what I'm really saying is, why did I have to feed 1 million people this year? That seems wild. Food is a basic human right. Like we should all have access to it. It shouldn't cost $13 for a head of romaine lettuce. But instead of being accusatory in my tone, I can be inclusive in my tone and be like, we did this. This is an opportunity. My team's amazing. For you to then fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So you bringing all this stuff out of the water, are you then saying, why is all this stuff in the water?
Yeah,
Right.
if you actually pay attention, if people pay attention to what I've done, I don't shame anyone. I pull up everything and I leave it open to interpretation how it got there.
Correct.
I don't say, damn you fishermen for this, or for people chucking stuff in the water. It's like, I just pull it up, show it, I move on to the next one. And then people can decide, they can deal with that, how they want to deal with it. Because I'm in no place to make judgments
Sure.
on anyone.
Yeah. None of us are. And so if you could use your platform going forward, and this will be my closing question. I don't even know if I asked any questions, but this feels like one. If you could use your platform to influence people positively, we already know how you want to help them see themselves mentally, and also curiously in how they should just lean into their joy. But what about overall, like as a planet, as a place, as a maritimer, what do you hope that, all of your work, but Saltwater Sean in particular, does for the Maritimes?
I hope that what it does is that it puts a spotlight on this province, that there's still people in this country, maybe on this planet, who give a damn about something that's bigger than themselves.
Okay. Love
I
that.
think that people very rarely think outside of their own circles and their own families, and I think that's just a natural human thing.
Sure.
But I think that if you just go one more step above and you try to give a little bit more effort, and you try to, I'm only taking maybe a bag or two of garbage out at a time. On a physical whole, it's not very much, but on a reach, on a message to getting it out to Nova Scotians and then the world, that it's like a big wave that keeps going more and more and more and further. So I hope Saltwater Sean at some point becomes, part of Nova Scotia's maybe legacy,
Sure.
and that other people will go do what I'm doing, and that where everyone's getting in the water and taking stuff out. I don't want to have to do it by myself.
Well, man, I'm coming with you for sure. I don't know about -7.
We'll go when it's a little warmer.
For our U.S. listeners, we were talking in Celsius. Sean is crazy, but he's not that crazy. It's so I love that. I think the wave analogy was a triple entendre if we're all counting at home.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I want to ask you, and I think I've said that 3 times now, but I'm doing this one too, is what makes you most proud to be a Nova Scotian? What makes you proud of us?
You know what? That's a good question. I've not been asked that before.
All right. Points from my producer.
I think what I love about being a Nova Scotian is that I can go out into the street or anywhere in this province and meet someone, and they would probably offer you a spot in their home
They would.
to sleep, or they would give you food or directions. I think that's what makes me proud of our people, is that, yes, we have it's a tough province to live in. There are finances, financial issues, housing issues, spiritual issues. But at its core, Nova Scotians, being people by the sea, have learned to endure hardship over life. And and they realize that. I think every Nova Scotian in their heart realizes that, and they do want to genuinely help other people. And I've encountered many people that way, and I'm just one of many. I'm just another guy who's offering the same thing to other people. So that's what makes me proud of our people, Nova Scotians.
Couldn't agree anymore, man. Thank you for taking the time this morning.
Oh, thank
A pleasure to meet you.
you as well.
Yeah, I feel like this conversation could have gone a solid other 3 more hours.
Oh, I agree.
And it will offline.
Yeah.
Because hold me to it. I would love to come out and
Okay.
throw magnets with you or
Oh,
get in the
man.
water with you. I
Sure.
love the water a lot.
Okay, cool.
So folks, of course, at Saltwater Sean, we're going to link everything
Cool.
in the episodes. But thank you again for being with me today, brother.
Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, folks, as always, we appreciate your attention and your intention in listening to this show. Share it on all the platforms, let people know. And also just like hang out with Saltwater Sean online because it's a ton of fun. I only had a moment when we were first vetting this interview and I sat in my car and lost like 45 minutes just scrolling, which means not that I was doom scrolling. It was quite the opposite. It was joy scrolling, man. So thank you for what you
cool.
bring to the world.
Thank you.
I'm Mark Brand, and you've been listening to Better.